Hey guys, Myles here with another competition shooting video. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to enter position smoothly so that you can shoot with more accuracy and potentially even sooner, aka faster. So stay tuned. So if you're relatively new to shooting, how many of you have done something like this? I want you to look at how I enter this position. I have a steel plate 15 yards away, 15-yard rack. I'm going to shoot one plate, and look at how I enter the position here. I'm going to load and make ready, and on the buzzer, I'm going to shoot one plate. So on the buzzer, I'm going to run past that stick and then engage one of the plates. Notice how I land into that position. So that was a 310, and notice how I really just kind of crashed into the position. That's what we're going to be talking about today, and we have the time 310 as the baseline, and we'll see if we can beat that. So if you were paying attention, I crashed in and you could see me sliding into position. What that does is that it takes a lot more time for me to stabilize and take a good shot. This is a 15-yard shot on a relatively hard target, so I want to make sure I'm stable. But if I'm moving, there's a lot of changes in my elevation, or there's a lot of movement in my sights, it's going to take me much longer to take an accurate shot. So what I need to do is understand that as I'm approaching a position, I need to be able to slow down and glide into position rather than hop over the stick and then crash into here. It causes a lot of disruption on the sights, or red dot if you're a red dot shooter. And as I mentioned, it's going to take a lot longer to take that shot. Okay? And it can affect your accuracy because now your sights are moving all over the place. In the introduction, I mentioned two things. One, if you enter in properly, smoothly, you can take more accurate shots. Why? Because I already discussed this, your sights or your red dot are not going to be moving as much. At the same time, if it is a easy target, so again, this is a relatively difficult target for a lot of shooters, but imagine if it was up close, maybe a 5-yard target that you're entering into. So now you can also shoot sooner, aka faster. So if I entered into this position here, okay, gliding in, and if there's not a lot of disruption in my sights and it's an easy target, I can start shooting right away, versus if I crashed in, my sights might dip and I might still miss an easy target. So what I want to do in this video is just share a couple concepts so that when you begin to run into position, you're not going to have that big disruption in your sights. So the first thing is, as you approach the position that you want to pass or that you want to enter so that you can take shots, you want to begin to take your foot off the gas. What do I mean by that? What I did earlier was go into position and put that handbrake on, and that causes a big disruption. Imagine you were in a car and you just lift up that handbrake. What I want to do is, as I'm entering position, I am going to take my foot off the gas and glide into position here. Now, I'm not going to go into the weeds and the details of footwork here, but understand the big concepts first, the general idea. Then later on in future videos, or even on your own, you're going to learn little techniques that you can add to this. Understanding the purpose, or the concept, I should say, first is most important. So what I'm going to be doing is, as I run, you could stutter step or just tell yourself to slow down. And at this point, you're going to glide into position rather than, again, putting the handbrake, okay? So that is one thing. It's more mental, and just remembering that you need to start to let that energy bleed out, okay? You can't just put on the handbrake once you're in the position, okay? The second tip is, as you enter the position, whatever foot that you use to enter, it's generally a good idea to go heel to toe. What do I mean by that? So regardless of how you enter, if I'm running and if I land flat-footed or on the balls of my feet, there's a lot more disruption. There's not a lot of cushion. Worse, if I land completely flat, I might slip, and that again is going to cause disruption. So instead, what you want to do is you want to enter your position on your heel and roll in. Okay, so notice how I entered with my heel and I roll in. So it takes out a little bit more of the jerkiness in your movement. It's helping you bleed more energy, and that way your sights are going to be steadier so that you can take a more accurate shot, okay? And potentially sooner, again, if it was a easier target. So with just those 2 tips, you can already see improvement upon entering the position because again, your sights are going to be steadier. I'm going to add a bonus tip here. When you enter your position, you also want to try and keep your head level. So if my head is level, is at this height right here, when I enter, I don't want to come up, like straighten up my body. So a lot of people will do this. I'm going to take out my gun right here, right now, real quick. Notice where the gun is right here. They'll start here and then they will straighten up. There's a time and a place for that, but as a general rule, if you do that, that is adding movement in your sights, right? You are now going to have to make some adjustments. Because for example, if I'm already aimed in here, let's say I already have my sights on the target, and when I enter position, I could break the shot. But if I added movement, now I can't break the shot yet because there's still movement. So with those 3 tips, bleeding the energy before you enter position, landing with your heel and kind of rolling into position to help bleed energy as well, and the third, keeping your head level, you should see a faster time when you enter position. So now let's compare it to my first run. The first one was 3:10. I'm going to do the same thing on the buzzer. I'm going to run and engage 1 plate, and we will compare the times. So that was a 2:55. So it was definitely faster, and I didn't really need the time to aim at the very end because it was already steady, it stayed steady, then as soon as I was stable, I took that shot. Versus when I crashed in there, there was a lot of different movement in my sights and even in my body, I didn't feel comfortable. That was more than a half a second saved by implementing just those 3 simple tips. Now imagine in a course of fire, there are a lot of different positions that you're entering and exiting from. So if you use these tips when you're entering different positions, you're going to save a lot more time and have the potential of performing much better in the match results. So those are some simple movement tips that you can add to your toolbox when entering a position so that you can shoot with more accuracy and potentially even shoot sooner, so faster. Give them a try. Remember, those are just the wave tops. You will pick up more details as you begin, but I didn't want to overwhelm you. There are certain techniques that could help you actually enter in, but those are the core concepts that I wanted to share today that will help you if you already implement them in your next match or your next practice session. As always, if you guys liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. Let me know below if these tips work out for you. And if you're not subscribed yet to our channel and you want to be notified every time we release a video, make sure you do subscribe, hit that bell to be notified. I'll see you guys next week.